On today's episode of Moto Cheese.
What's up, guys? We're going to do a little carb work on a green bastard today. See if we can squeeze a little more horsepower out of it. That's right. This one's a little more difficult to get to because they have the rear brake reservoir there. Got a little kink in my battery vent tube there. Make sure your fuel is off the petcock. Don't forget, this plunger goes in one way. There's a groove that lines up with a groove, and that is for your idle adjustment. That's your jet needle. It's as simple as that. So I gotta drain the gas out. Oh, it's got the little flat key. There's no tamper-proof on there. I'm going to grind a little groove in that too for the mixture. It has a different type of tamper-proof screw on it. Don't squeeze that very much. Well, the good thing about that is all you really need is a hacksaw. You line it up. And then you can get a screwdriver in it. Where the other tamper-proofs are recessed in. See if that'll work. Usually the blade of that isn't wide enough, but it works. So you need kind of a narrow blade on your screwdriver. But as you can see, it works. Kit that Taco sells, which is NZ brake blades, on eBay, or you can contact them through Instagram. Comes with the replaceable screws for this. This rubber gasket is supposed to go there. Alright, let's see what it's got for a main jet. It's a 105. So that's a 105 main jet. The float looks a hair too high because normally it should be level with the weight of it, of the float, just like it is, see? So it's a hair high, which normally makes it a little richer, so being a little bit higher, I'm not too worried about it. It's close. Alright, it looks like it's a 34 Pilot. I did want to put a groove in that too, but I can get to it now. Of course, the brass will get down into the carburetor, but we will clean that out. There. No, I'm not hired. Let's see where this was. Half, 1, 1.5, 2, 2.5. Wow, almost 3. Half, 1, 1.5, 2, 2.5. I'll put it at 3. So for that to be out that far, that primary jet may be a hair small, but I'll keep it at 3. 105 main. Good idea. That's why it runs so good out of the box. I'm going to jump up to a 115. So I found my 115. Yes, Mikuni and Kind carbs have different main jets. Now this may be too large. We won't know until we test it. And everybody always asks what's the best jet. Depends on your elevation. But I'm at about 600 feet above sea level. And anywhere between 110 and 115 usually ends up working out pretty good for me. So yeah, main jet, primary jet, mixture screw. Primary jet is from idle up to about a quarter of your throttle, which is when it lifts that plunger out about a quarter of the way. Anywhere from a quarter to about 3/4 is the needle jet, which is underneath the main jet. When the plunger goes in, that little needle goes into this and regulates it. It's tapered, so it regulates the fuel, and it mixes. These little holes adjust. These even have a size, which I don't know what size this is, but usually you don't have to mess with these. These are what usually plugs up in the carburetors of the old bikes that you pick up that the gas has been sitting in them forever. Quarter throttle to 3/4 throttle. It pretty much relies on this, and of course the main jet a little bit. But the main jet really only functions when that needle's all the way out. Then the main jet is all by itself. That means the needle's out and you're wide open and it's getting full fuel from that. Yes, it does get a little tiny bit from the primary, but that's how it works. Primary is for up to a quarter throttle. From a quarter to 3/4 is your needle jet. The other part is a jet needle, which is why I'm going to put a washer under that to give it a little bit more to come on earlier. Main jet is 3/4 to full throttle. This is your float, which floats in the gasoline. So when that comes down, it opens that float valve, and the fuel gets filling up inside this bowl. And the fuel level gets up to enough to raise that up to push against that needle. Shuts the fuel off. Simple, right? All my jets are tight. I'm out 3 turns on the mixture screw. This is all nice and clean on the bowl. I've done a lot of these, so you could literally take this carburetor out and rejet it in probably 5 minutes, 10 minutes tops. We're not quite ready yet. I'm going to take this plunger off. Pay attention how that goes in there. Push that retainer out. There is no washers under this. This is not an adjustable jet needle. When you get a jet kit, or the kit that Taco gives you, it will have an adjustable jet needle. This is called. That goes down into that needle jet. So the easiest way around that, if you don't have a jet needle to adjust it up and down, I get a little washer and I put it underneath it. Sometimes 2. But sometimes 2 is too much. It has to be a little baby one. So I have one little thin brass washer that I'm going to shim up the jet needle. See if I can get this back together. Make sure that doesn't go up and down easily. On some of these small engines, there's a step, and you have to get that little retainer clip in it. Believe me, I've seen where this will lift up and down a little bit. You go to drive the bike, it runs great, and all of a sudden it's like bogging out because this needle will come up, or if that doesn't go in right to hold it down. This takes a little knack to get used to it, smashing that spring, but once you get it, you got it. Alright, that groove, there's a pin, not the idle adjustment. The idle adjustment lines up with that, the pin lines up with the back. That idle adjustment, there is no set turns for that idle adjustment. You have to adjust that by ear, or if you have a tachometer, which I believe is 800 to 1000 RPMs is probably the safe zone. Make sure that's on there nice and snug. I will connect my fuel. Make sure this is not kinked. This is your drain overflow. That screw right there drains your carburetor out. So for the winter, when you shut the fuel off, you can either drain it out this way or run the bike out of fuel with the petcock shut off. I still put stable in the fuel. Now once you do all this, if it doesn't work, you got to take it apart again. That's just the way it is. That's the way it is. You don't know if you got the jetting right. There's so many different factors. Elevation, temperature, the motor itself. It comes at 105, which is awesome. So if you're at a 2,000-3,000 elevation, you're probably good. Maybe up around 10,000 feet, it might even be too rich. This will be too rich at 10,000 feet, I can tell you that. This is going to be the harder one. Got it. Turn the fuel on. Make sure that overflow drain is going down. Don't forget, lever up, choke on, lever down, choke off. Might not even need to choke. Might hold out.
A few moments later.
Look, jacket and gloves. Proper riding gear. Let's see how we did. Do no choke. Wow, the idle's a lot higher. Well, I'm actually glad that happened. Something's holding it up. It's because the cable did not go into the top of the carburetor properly. See it? That's important. There. See, it's down in there. Now let's see. Put that rubber boot back over it. Let's see if we're too rich or over jetted. Not warmed up yet, but it feels good. Yeah, it feels pretty good so far. Well, the front of these are heavier. Really hard to get the front end up in the air like the Hawks. Might be pretty close to the Hawk EFI DLX. Maybe not quite. Oh dear. Might be a hair rich, maybe. Kind of stumbles a little when I let off. There's 65. Now of course the best way, wide open throttle ignition cut, where you hold the bike wide open and then you shut it off. Then you pull to the side of the road, you pull the plug out and you look at it and you see what color it is. And it should be a nice tan color. But I kind of do it by ear. Sorry. So this thing cruising along pretty good. I mean, you can cruise at like 60 now. Fairly easy. Do a 0 to 60 right here. So make sure no one's behind us. Ready? I don't even know what kind of aftermarket exhaust will fit on this. That's it. 70 is all I can get out of it right now. Like I say, I think you could probably squeak a little more out if you had a better flowing exhaust. I'm not going to do it. I'm going to keep it quiet. This bike isn't made for speed. It's made for the leisurely road and trail ride. Nice secondary roads, dirt roads. It's not a highway bike by any means. If I could do 80, then I'd say yeah, you could probably use it on a highway. That's some root pattern on that tree. That was pretty cool. Oh dear. So I'm pretty happy with that. Definitely got a little better pull to it. .112.5 might be the perfect jet for this. I might be a tad bit over jetted. It is a little cool out. The hotter it is, the less jet you want too. Oh, I think I might be pretty good right where it is. It's starting to drizzle. Yeah, this thing does not want to wheelie. You definitely feel the weight up front. The Hawk's definitely way easier to wheelie. Not the DLX Hawk, the original Hawk. I think these front forks are adding some weight. It's alright. And yes, it's tough to get in neutral if it's running. Once you ride it a while, you put a couple hundred miles on it, the clutch loosens up, where it'll slip a little bit better when you have it pulled in. She runs pretty good though. Good job, green bastard. Good job.
Hey, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. We'd love to hear what you have to say. Hit that bell if you want new notifications on new videos. Links for products used are in the description and on motocheese.com. Thanks for watching.